Hello, Soul Tribe and Earth Family. This is your collective energy update for IJH for this week. Happy end of Mercury retrograde. Yesterday was a big day for all of us in America. It was our day to vote. It was a very kinetic, frantic, frenzied energy. I don't know if you felt it, but I could feel it. It was palpable in my nervous system. So hopefully whether you chose to exercise your right to vote early or on time or not at all, it's all good, but hopefully you did what was right for you and your soul in these very unprecedented times where it's not a vote for left and right, just like Twix would like us to believe, but it's more a vote for, the dark versus the light. So anyway, there's been a lot of divisive energy going on. And so I really encourage you to, resist the temptation of getting in fights and conflicts, because there is that divisive energy going on in our universe right now. And so people are extremely reactive and they're very triggered. I went to a women's circle this weekend, and I noticed people popping off and getting really triggered. And notice it in yourself too, right? Like if someone cuts you off in traffic or you've been waiting to get out of a parking lot and someone just swoops in, just notice your reactivity, notice, those triggers in you, because triggers are essentially unhealed wounds in your energetic field. And so it's not about, so instead of if you triggered someone, don't feel bad about it, because really what you did them a service to show them what they need to be healed and that there's things going on in their energy field. But usually people want to shoot the messenger and get mad at you because they're like, man, she said something that really triggered me. But really, it's not about the person who told you the message. It's really about you needing to heal that within yourself. So I think a huge part of being on the spiritual path is taking responsibility for your own emotions, your own energy, your own thoughts, your own words that create your reality. And ultimately, just know that you are co-creating your reality with spirit. And so if there are things that need to be healed, spirit will send you messengers along the way. So that's the first thing I want to talk about is divisiveness, being triggered, and Mercury retrograde. So Mercury retrograde finally came to an end on November 3rd, and this Gemini definitely felt it. I'll tell you, man, it was challenging traveling in COVID and in Mercury retrograde. So I'm really excited to be taking off for a trip on Saturday where it's minus Mercury retrograde. So what does Mercury affect? Let's just recap. Mercury affects contracts, it affects short-term travel, it affects, vehicles, it affects communication. So maybe your friend groups right now are like blowing up, like mine are, and your WhatsApp groups. It affects marketing and sales. And so most of us knew, if we were following astrology, that September and October were going to be really, really tough financially for a lot of us, especially October. So the good news is we're in November. So October is over, which was actually had the hardest alignments for the entire year. I mean, the week of October 12th was hard, right? Even like last week with the full moon in Taurus, man, talk about freeing ourselves from the shackles. I mean, so many of us had epiphanies. There are so many divorces going on. There are so many people that are, stepping into their truth and their power and saying, like, enough is enough. This is a time to assert yourself and your boundaries, okay? This is not a time for people pleasing. So 2020 has been crazy. Hopefully you've had a chance to know who I am, who I'm not, what I believe in. Hopefully you've done some soul searching with all these crazy cosmic alignments. I mean, this was a shakeup from spirit. A lot of people are like, oh my God, I can't wait till 2020 is over. Well, guess what? The beginning of 2021 is still going to be rocky, especially January. A lot of civil unrest. In February, it's going to be a little bit better. But really, if you're making big plans, whether it's for travel or to launch businesses or courses or products or whatever, I highly recommend waiting until after March. Okay, so we're not out of the woods yet, but things are definitely looking up for us, especially in November. And I cannot wait because apparently the new moon in Scorpio that's coming up for us is unobstructed and has no negative aspects. And boy, oh boy, do we need that. And so I talked about the fact that with Libra and relationships, we were kind of letting go of any imbalanced relationships. That's why there's a lot of divorces and shakeups and separations and, parting the ways and friendships going on, because we've spent the last 35-year cycle that I've been talking about, and so has the astrologers, with the Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter conjunction that's been going on since April 2019. We spent the last 35 years in Libra, which is the relationship sign, right? A masculine sign and air sign. So we've had these unequal relationships or imbalanced relationships. So we had a new moon in Libra, remember, a few weeks back, where we were, shaking out, what doesn't serve us, what is no longer in alignment with us. And that's the theme, guys. Do a house cleanup. I talked about this last week. Whatever is not in alignment with you, furniture, relationships, people, jobs, marriages, whatever, children you're going to have to keep. But anyway, just give it up to the universe. Let go and let God. And you know what? And just for this time, right? Because who knows? Maybe later on, those people might come into alignment or do their soul work or do their inner work and come back into your life. There's always a do-over. So there's no need to feel this great loss or grief when you let go of something, because you can always start again. You can always have a do-over. You are your own co-creator with spirit. You are a sovereign being of light. So just remember that. You don't need to grip on and grasp on to all the things and all the people and everything that you've ever collected in your life. You need to be in ebb and flow. You need to be in flow. Don't be stagnant. Don't be holding on to the past, right? Don't be rigid. Just be in flow and let go when you're called to let go, and just trust the process, and know that if people and things and jobs and careers and houses and cars that are meant to be in your life, they will be in your life. What's meant for you is meant for you. So I hope you take me at my word. I speak from very, very deep spiritual experience, right? So yeah, that's what's been going on. So the fact is, as soon as, it's so funny, I didn't even consciously know that Mercury was going direct yesterday. But I immediately was like, okay, I'm going to go car shopping. Cars have to do with Mercury. Contracts have to do with Mercury. So I just instinctually, on a soul level, I'm so connected to the collective. I'm so connected to you guys. I'm so connected to the cosmos that I felt that. And so what I encourage you to do is cultivate that connectedness, that inner knowing, that, connection with the earth and the cosmos and the collective. It's really important as you go through your ascension process for you to trust your instincts and to feel into things, right? Because there's a lot of false news out there. There's a lot of confusion, a lot of debris up in the air, and there's not a lot of clarity. So you need to go within yourself, meditate, chant, spend some time alone in solitude in nature, and figure out what is my truth, and follow that and trust that, right? And it's easier said than done, but it's a practice. So I encourage you to do that. Okay, so yes, as a Mercury baby, as a Gemini, I'm super happy that we're direct now. What else is new? Well, let's see. Mars retrograde. Holler. Okay, so we've only got a few more days to go, peeps. So this doesn't happen very often. I think every once or a couple of years, Mars goes retrograde. The planet of war and action and drive and sex drive and ambition. Guess what? It's been on retrograde since September, and it is coming back online and going forward on November 13th. So we have Mercury going forward now. We're going to have Mars going forward in November. So I'm telling you, November things are looking up. And it's really interesting because I've heard some astrologers talk about this, because right now, so I talked about the last 35-year cycle has been in Libra. Well, the next 35 cycle is going to be more about corporations and employees and things like that. But it's also going to be more of a feminine energy, right? Because Libra was a masculine energy. And so we're leaving a lot of the things in the patriarchy that don't serve us, right? So what's really important is to know that with this feminine energy coming up, you have to remember that the feminine is very fluid. It's receiving, right? So it's the formless, right? And the masculine is the form, right? So right now we're in this stage where we're kind of coming upon, a lot of us are coming upon these, these new higher timelines. A lot of people are moving, to Colorado and Costa Rica and all these things. And, with working from home has made it that people can live anywhere they want. They don't have to wait till retirement. So COVID has actually been helpful in a lot of ways, right? Some people have gotten unemployment or PPP or stimulus checks, and been able to stockpile cash to be able to really make that timeline a reality. So COVID hasn't been all bad, and that's what I want you to remember, is to have some gratitude regardless of what situation's going on. I mean, gosh, the stock market went down again. I bought up AMC stocks that I've been waiting on for months to go to like $2 something. So just look for the silver lining, because in life, that's what's going to happen. You're not going to have a perfect life. And so if you just focus on what's good and what's positive out of every situation, you're going to be able to come out on top and smiling, right? And take that opportunity. And so that's what's happening. A lot of people are moving because they don't have to, work from a specific destination. A lot of people are leaving the cities. This was forecasted in astrology. I mean, somebody from New York told me that their friends in New York were in Times Square and in that area, and it was a ghost town. That's kind of hard to believe. 5 years ago, if you said that to somebody, you'd been like, what, is there an apocalypse? And so people are leaving the cities in droves and going out to the country and buying up real estate and snapping it up, because these are record lows. I mean, 2.5 for a mortgage when it was like 16% in the 60s for interest rates. I mean, unbelievable, right? So the stock market's hasn't completely bounced back, but has bounced back a lot quicker. The airlines have bounced back, and travel have bounced back a lot quicker than a year and a half, which they were predicting. I thought the mortgage market was going to be severely hit, but a lot of people have been investing and flipping houses and buying up real estate. So the residential real estate market's really hot. Maybe the commercial real estate market has suffered because people are working from home. But again, just look for the silver lining, look for the positives, look for the opportunities, and take them, my friend, because Source wants you to be abundant. Source wants you to be happy, and Source wants you to be, living your best life, essentially. So that's what's going on, as we're going into this more feminine cycle of formless, which means that right now it's a little bit unknown, it's a little bit fluid. So even though we're co-creating these higher timelines for ourselves, whether it's moving or getting a divorce or getting our dream house or getting our dream car, what's happening is we're not quite exactly sure about how that higher timeline is going to pan out specifically, but we have some idea, and we're going with faith and trust and walking every step. And Spirit has this way, like at least, of trickling down information, right? So your guides will say, okay, it's time to move. And then you were like, but move where? And then, a few weeks later, you're in meditation, they're like, okay, and they'll whisper a destination in your ear, or you'll be guided to do your astrocartography, for example, which is something that I do for my clients. So guides, your guides will step in and give you little pieces of information, and the ego doesn't like that, because the ego wants to know and wants to know right now, because the ego doesn't feel safe, it wants control, it doesn't want to surrender, and it has resistance, right? And it doesn't see what that future timeline looks like, because it's never experienced it before. So I just invite you to go within, retreat, do some meditations, do some journaling, do some soul inner, introspection, and just figure out, what is my truth? What are my dreams, right? What are the things on my vision board? What are the things, and why do I want that Land Rover? Or why do I want that house with a pool? How's it going to make you feel? And then focus on how it's going to make you feel. And trust me, when you already feel abundant, the universe has no choice but to give you all the things. And you need to be in the feminine mode. You need to be in receiving mode. And you need to also trust as things unfold, and you not exactly knowing them in the form, in the masculine, because the form is going to come a little bit later. Right, and again, November is so huge, because we're going to have our last, conjunction there with that, the Jupiter and Saturn's already started to move away, and Pluto and all that. So we've been working up to this for the last 35 years, especially since April 2019. So congratulations. Hopefully you're in relationships that are in alignment. Hopefully you are making your best life happen and your higher timeline. So if you like this video, if you find it helpful that I give you an energetic update for the collective, please spread the word. I'd love your support, donations, follow, like, share with at least 3 of your friends. It spreads the word. This is something I do for completely free, for everyone. So that way, I'm not discriminating against people that can't, pay for services and, energy work or health coaching or, yogic philosophy from me. I have several programs, so hit me up if you're interested, and I'd love to hear from you and your journey and how your ascension's going, and your awakening process. My name is Rena with InsideJobHealing.com. Love you guys.